That's what Index Universal Life is. If you wait and fill it up according to Tamra, all of the interest and all of your income will be tax-free forever. That's the beauty of it. So that's why we want to comply with Tefra, DEFRA, and Tamra. Now, the last thing is indexing. See, Cresmont is a research company, and they said if you look at the last 50 years in the stock market, if you simply eliminated all of the years where the market went down, and usually 30% of the years the market went down, you just eliminate those. You didn't lose. You would only need 25% of the up years to outperform the stock market. That's where indexing comes in. So with indexing, when I get $1 million in my IUL policy, let's just look at that. If I feel like, we're headed for a recession, I think the market's gonna crash this year, I just can settle for the general account portfolio. That's called GAP, general account portfolio rate. The insurance company on my $1 million, they're investing my money and everybody else's into mortgages on shopping malls and skyscrapers, into preferred stocks, AA and AAA bonds. And so they earn 4% is about the lowest. They've earned as high as 15.5%. I'm just going to use the lowest, 4%. So if I feel bearish about America, that I think that the economy is going to go down, I'll just say, just pay me 4% tax-free. At the end of the year, I now have $1,040,000. But in a year, I feel like, I think the economy is going to do well. I feel bullish about America. I tell the insurance company, don't you put one dime of my $1 million at risk in the stock market. But I am willing to give up the 4% interest, this $40,000. You do whatever you need to do with that $40,000 to have the wherewithal to pay me whatever the market does. And so I can choose different indexes like the S&P 500, the top 500 corporations in America. That's a very famous index. So if the S&P goes up 8%, the insurance company pays me $80,000 that year tax-free. If it goes up 12%, they pay me $120,000 tax-free. How can they afford to do that? Because 40,000 of options doubles and triples. They know what they're doing. But if I guess wrong and the market tanks, if the market crashes like it did in 2008, it drops 40%. My $1 million doesn't go down to 600,000 like people who have money in the market. I still have my $1 million. The options just expired, worthless. I didn't make anything, but I didn't lose. How incredible is this? This is explained in my book with this diagram here. So folks, the book is The Laser Fund. And in the Great Recession, people in America who accumulated $1 million their entire life, and they decided, okay, I'm going to retire. I have $1 million. And all of a sudden, after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, what happened? That $1 million went down to $600,000. They felt like they lost their future. They had to put off retirement 7 years because it took 4 years to come back up to break even. Our clients with Index Universal Life, they didn't lose a dime when it went down. And they actually made 5%, the general account portfolio rate. And then at the end of this time period, many of them had $2 million for the million when most Americans were barely back to break even. And then what happened in 2008? It dropped, and again, 30 or 40%. Our clients were cheering, go, because they weren't losing. They may not have made anything, but they didn't lose. And it took 4 years until 2012 before people with $1 million finally had $1,046,000, barely above break even. That's only 1/3 of 1% compounded rate of return over 12 years. Our clients with IUL, their million was worth 2.5 to 3 million at the end of that 12-year period when everybody else in America was barely back to break even. So my message here, folks, is this. When you look at your situation, don't be part of the 95% following traditional advice and yet to be taxed IRAs or 401ks. You're going to be in captivity and outlive your money. I want you to arrive at the land of peace and abundance, be part of the top 5%, have tremendous financial freedom, have several $1 million, and the missing structure between these people and these people is disclosed in my book, The Laser Fund.